It is a great month for audiobook sales, so today I'm going to be sharing with you my picks from the Librofm audiobook sales for June. If you don't know who I am, my name's Lily. I am the book reviewer behind Utopia State of Mind, and every month I go through Librofm sale picks. I tell you what my favorite books are and what books are in my cart. Also, I tell you the books that I already own but haven't read yet. If you don't know what Librofm is, it is a monthly subscription service for audiobooks, which is independent from Amazon, and we love to see it. Every month you pay for a credit. That means that you are an active member. But to get these audiobooks, you do not need to be an active paying member. You just need to have an account. And once you buy these audiobooks, they're yours forever. If you are an active member, though, you get an additional 30% off of the sale price. So I just want to jump in and say that Heart of the Sun Warrior and Tales of the Celestial Kingdom, books 2, and the novellas for the Daughter of the Moon Goddess series are on sale. I love these books so much. Also, Natalie Naudus is the narrator, and Natalie Naudus, if you're new here, is one of my favorite audiobook narrators. So everything so good about this one. It is book 2 and the novellas for it. So if you haven't read book 1, you need to read book 1. But if you've been putting off reading book 2 and or the novellas, this is a great time for them on sale. So Let Them Burn is on sale. This is Camilla Cole's debut YA book, and I really enjoyed this one. If you love a story about sisters and what it's like to be the chosen one and to not be the chosen one, So Let Them Burn is fantastic. It's a dual narrator audiobook as well. It's the first of a series, so it's really great to get started on that early. A Fire Endless, which is the Elements of Cadence book number 2, is on sale. This means that it's the sequel to River Enchanted, which is one of my favorite musical, magical adult fantasy series. I actually love music magic, and A Fire Endless and A River Enchanted are some of my favorites. It is actually, I think these are actually the first Rebecca Ross books I may have ever read, and they're one of my favorites to this day. I feel like they might even be my favorite Rebecca Ross books as a whole. This is the second book though, so same with Heart of the Sun Warrior. If you haven't read book 1, you need to before you jump into book 2, but if you've been putting it off, definitely check them out now. All of the Halfling Saga books are on sale. That means A Broken Blade, A Shadow Crown, A Vicious Game, and An Honored Vow are all on sale. You could just binge the entire series now. I highly recommend it. Melissa Blair's Halfling Saga series is one of the best. It's a quartet of books, and it is not afraid to get into the nitty-gritties of what it means to have power, to feel powerless, to rule, to be in the ruins of rule. It's a great example of kind of, you don't win the victory, or you don't win the battle, you win the war kind of thing, in the sense that there's a lot of movements forward and backwards, but the character journeys and the character arcs on this are superb, and you can read the whole saga right now on sale. The Manor of Dreams is one of my favorite books that I read this year. I love this blend of multiple perspectives, multiple timelines, this gothic haunted house vibe, family secrets. It is just so great. It is also queer, so perfect read for June, and I just loved this so much. I don't know why I put this off for so long. This is one of the books where I really hate that it took me so long to read this one. But now that I have, I can recommend it all to you. A Lady for a Duke is on sale. It is queer, it is historical fiction romance, and it is just so good. I actually own it as a copy on my shelf up above. Basically, our main characters are 2 childhood best friends. They are lost by war, and then they potentially fall in love again with some secrets abound as well. Love this one so much. It's also my favorite Alexis Hall book at all. Like, in the entire Alexis Hall catalog, this is my favorite one. It Had to Be Him is the second one in the Love on the Vine series, but you don't have to read them in order. I actually haven't read this one yet. Adib is one of my favorite authors, period, and I can't believe I haven't read it, but this is in my cart because I love this. It's like this fun adult queer romance series, and also I'm pretty sure each one of them has some sort of connection with wine, and sommelier. At least the first one did. They're all sort of like food related as well. This one is definitely on my TBR. As I said, I cannot believe that I haven't read it yet. Immortal Dark, which is book one in the Immortal Dark series, is on sale. If you've been really looking for a resurgence of YA vampires, Immortal Dark, one of my favorite. It blends this with a dark academia mix with also kind of these ideas of ruling houses that are just so bad they're so good kind of thing. They have really great world development and really great development in terms of the houses as a whole. And I also love the tension. It is simmering and fiery, and it's also just such a great series. I've also read, I don't remember what the second one is, but the third one I think is coming out later this year. And all of them are just so fabulous. I've been an early supporter of this series, and I really recommend it, especially if you're into the vampires right now. Belladonna is on sale. Belladonna is Adeline Grace's first in the, I don't know if there's like a name for this series. Basically, they're all sort of gothic in the sense that in this one, she ends up meeting Death himself. I have loved this premise. I think that Belladonna might still be my favorite of the Belladonna, Wisteria, and Foxglove kind of trilogy. There's also Holly, which is I think a novella for this one. Belladonna is where it started, and I also just love it. I love this blend of gothic and swoony fantasy vibes. I really enjoyed All the Stars and Teeth, so I knew that I had to read Belladonna, and as I said, it's one of my favorites. I actually also read one of the audiobooks in this series, or one of the books in this series on audiobook, and I can definitely recommend. Business Casual, which is book 4 in the Love Light series, is here every month. I feel like there's one of these BK Borison Love Light series, and every month I tell you that I haven't read the rest of the series yet. Even though I own them all, because at one point, all of them were on sale. So I own them all. This is in my library, and I haven't read it. I still need to read Love Light Farms book 2. I want to mention 400 Souls and Stamped Racism, Anti-Racism, and You are both on sale. I mentioned them together because Abram is the author of both of them, along with some co-authors as well. Stamped is for YA. I really enjoyed, oh my gosh, what is the name of the one that I read from this one? I really loved Stamped, the non-YA version, and I really enjoyed the YA version. I think it really brings it to a really fantastic audience of teens. It's not necessarily a history book per se. It's kind of just revealing the way that these racist ideals and these way that these concepts were kind of formed. It's not necessarily kind of a historical book in that sense. And 400 Souls is actually the book that I read after Stamped, and it specifically focuses on 1619 to 2019 as well. So it's a little bit of a smaller time window in that sense. So I definitely wanted to recommend both of these because I really, really enjoyed Stamped. This is a book that, Stamped is a book that I've given basically to all of my American friends, and so 400 Souls was a really great follow-up book to that one. The Galaxy and the Ground Within is on sale. This is by Becky Chambers, and it's part of the Wayfarers series. This is the only one that's out of the series that's on sale, but it's my well, okay. The first one, A Long Way to a Small Angry Planet, I think that's the name. Of course, that takes the cake for me in terms of the first one and this concept of this connected Wayfarers world, but they all can be read, and they don't have to be read chronologically per se. And so I think The Galaxy and the Ground Within may be my favorite of all of them, but obviously props to the first one that started off. And so this one is basically about, I actually was just at a social event last month and recommended this series, and specifically The Galaxy and the Ground Within. It takes place on this planet, which is kind of a rest stop, sort of pit stop planet, and all of a sudden the communications go dark, and we're not exactly sure why. But these Wayfarers books are the perfect kind of balancing point between heartfelt sci-fi emotional stories and these epic kind of sci-fi worlds that you see. The balance for the emotional beats are really there, and The Galaxy and Ground Within is my favorite. I also love the idea of a pit stop planet. Before I Let Go is the first in the Skyland series, and it's on sale by Kennedy Ryan. This is my favorite of the Skyland series. I read it in completely the wrong order. Okay, I think I read book 2 and then book 3 and then book 1, but this is my favorite. I am a sucker for marriages that have gone wrong, for estranged marriages, for kind of separation, for second chances, specifically in that context. That to me has become such a niche trope, a niche interest of mine that I love, but I just love them so fiercely. And Before I Let Go is that in a nutshell. It is so good. I love looking at kind of when we have been disappointed by someone, disappointed by the idea of love and by a person, and then to see what can happen, if anything can happen ever again. The fifth season and The Obelisk Gate, so book 1 and book 2 of The Broken Earth, are on sale. And if you haven't read the fifth season and you love epic fantasy, you need to stop this video. I don't even care if you finish it. Just stop the video and go get it, because the fifth season, one of my favorite. It started my love for N.K. Jemisin, which has never stopped. And it is just one of the most unique, inventive, fabulous fantasy stories I have ever read. I don't even know how to describe also what happened, A, because I read it a long time ago, but B, the joy of this series is really by figuring out what happens. It is just such a small or such a short premise. It's only a few sentences, but it is a story that unfolds in such an epic way. And when I think about fantasy series as a whole that don't miss and that are on the top of my top 10 of my entire life, the fifth season is definitely in there. And The Obelisk Gate, which is book 2, is also on sale. So you can listen to book 1 and book 2 and your life can just be so fabulous. I wish that I could experience reading this series for the first time all over again. The Night Circus is on sale. I will link down below my video where I talk about my experiences reading The Night Circus, because I feel like this is one of the first book series that started off this kind of magical circus setting, etc., etc. I enjoyed it. I don't know if the hype was matched in the sense that there's a lot of hype around it, but as I said, I will leave the video down below, but it is on sale as an audiobook. The Poppy War and Babel are on sale. I just wanted to mention those. Babel, one of my favorite books of all time. I love this dark academia, really kind of looking at the elitism at the academic space as a whole. And of course, The Poppy War. How could I not mention The Poppy War when my blog name is in the paperback copy? Humble brag, but such it is. Lula Dean's Little Library of Banned Books, one of my recent books that I liked, because it talks about this little banned book library, and because this other character in the book is trying to take these, it's about book banning, but trying to take these books off the shelf. And so this one, it has taken these dust jackets for the wholesome non-banned books and put them on banned books in this library. And it is such a beautiful story about a community coming together, about books and the power it has, because of course to go off on a tangent, of course we try to ban books because we're scared of how powerful they could be, but this book really takes that idea and turns it around and talks about how powerful a book can be to unite people, to educate people, to make people feel seen. And it is so hopeful. I actually recommended it to my mom because of how hopeful it is, even though there are some passages which are just so annoying and awful. But this hopeful message at the end of it, and the way that we can rebel, and the way that we find love in books and in community, was just so good. And the last one is The Ending Writes Itself, which I have not read. This is by Evelyn Clark, and I think it came out that it is a joint co-writing project between Kat Clark and V.E. Schwab. I really thought that was interesting. I think it's V.E. Schwab's first kind of co-writing project in that sense. It is a debut mystery about 6 authors, 1 private island, and 72 hours to write the ending that will change their lives. This is in my cart. I've seen sort of polarized reactions to this, but I'm very intrigued. I have a hit and miss relationship with V.E. Schwab books, but I'm really into this idea. I like this idea of a locked room island mystery. That has been something that I've really enjoyed throughout this whole thing. It reminds me of one of the Melissa Caruso locked room kind of mysteries. If you love fantastical mysteries, locked room mysteries, that series, The Last Hour Between Worlds, and the something of Wolves. You will see the covers here. Definitely recommend that one. But The Ending Right itself is in my cart because I just want to figure out if I'll like it on my own. Let me know what audiobook you are listening to currently. I will see you in the next video, and I hope you have a really great rest of your reading day, week, month, and year. Bye.